Before I get into this movie, I gotta bring up just how much Naomi Scott crushed it. I'm sure the movie would have been entertaining otherwise, but frankly, without her transformative performance, none of this works nearly as well as it does. I don't think any of the scares worked that well for me personally, but that or the emotional side was compelling because of the reality that her acting gave with every fantastical situation she found herself in. Welcome to Sandwich Reviews. I'm the Talking Sentient Sandwich, and if you haven't seen the first, you should probably watch that, because this one picks up directly after. Well, not directly after, it's 6 days, but you get it. And because I hadn't seen the first one in a couple years, everything about that ending came back to me eventually, but I can't imagine this narrative is anything but confusing if you don't recall the first. I mean, that's how sequels tend to work, but it's that very specific ending of the first that I guarantee you not everyone is going to remember. But if you do recall the events of the first, this is another great addition to what Naomi Scott called the Smile universe before the movie started. I can't imagine you'll need any convincing if you've already clicked on this video, but both Smile movies are so much more than I ever expected. I don't want to discount any kind of movie, but I anticipated something on the level of a Truth or Dare or a Countdown, or any of those other Blumhouse movies, which to be clear, I do think are fun, but they are definitely a lower class of horror movie. And this isn't nearly as psychological or contemplative as the best out there, but a lot of effort was put into that side of the narrative considering the schlocky horror that this should be. Though I must admit that this follows the same well-worn formula that has cropped up more and more lately, with an evil presence slowly infecting the protagonist's life until, by the end, they look crazy. And that story has been used so many times recently that I can recognize the same formulaic beat-for-beat moments that it uses, but thankfully, the movie never fell into the pitfalls of being too tropey or cliched. Because while that narrative of seemingly going crazy in the public's eye is played out already, it will also always work for me because it's compelling. And the last thing I need to mention before getting into the spoilers is how phenomenal the camera work is. There are a lot of artificial moves, whether that be an establishing drone shot or this weird obsession with having the camera spin upside down, which did have narrative reason, but none of that broke the immersion and was just a part of the film's style. As well as that, there was just clear effort to make this look as good as it possibly could, though some of the blood and gore did dip into unrealistic digital CG. But if you're looking for a captivating horror that will have you on the edge of your seat for its whole runtime, whether that be from the performances, concepts, or generally well done execution of those concepts, go check out Smile 2. And if you haven't seen the first, what are you doing? Go watch that. Because both are great, unnerving horror movies to watch in this spooky season. Because now, it's time to dive right into the many spoilers in Smile 2, so only keep watching if you've seen it. Ready? Alright. Starting off with that one take beginning was what reminded me that, yeah, the Smile movie was really well done. And just from that intro, I was amped to see what else the movie had in store. And I'm definitely going to need to watch that scene again to make sure it really is one take. I mean, there's always hidden cuts anyway, but it looked pretty seamless even with the camouflaged cuts. But getting into the story, from the moment Skye, the main character, contracts the Smile monster, I was just waiting for her to have a breakdown in front of an entire crowd of spectators. And that does technically happen at a charity gala, and that depicted the secondhand embarrassment that made this movie compelling, but that specific situation was saved for the very end. And I loved almost everything about the cosmic Lovecraftian horror that the monster was, though we still don't know what it really is. But in that, the movie should have given us even less certainty, because any form of explanation or seeing too much of it just makes it less scary. That or the distorted voice that they used for the monster kinda lessened the tension for me. Maybe it was too edited, or maybe I just didn't want to see any kind of perspective from the monster, though I can't deny that it was interesting for the monster to enjoy being in Skye's skin, and it being smart enough to use her to get to as many people as possible. I just wish that wasn't outright said. But getting back to the good stuff, because one thing that got me incredibly invested was questioning what was real. Towards the end, I doubt if anything that was happening was real, all except for the few final shots, and even then, I was still wondering if she was really on that stage or if it was just another trick. I should have also called that her friend wasn't real because, first off, she was too much of a cliched best friend character, but also because a similar ploy was used in the first with the main character's psychiatrist or something. But one thing I didn't anticipate at all was questioning if Murray was real. It was convenient that he would just pop in the narrative to cryptically text Skye and give her the answers she needed, but I figured that was just another cliched part of the movie. But was anything with him real? It could have been, and the third act Pizza Hut stuff was the only fake part, but there's a good chance that he was an entirely fictional person created by the monster to further manipulate Sky. But what are your thoughts on the new horror movie Smile 2? Did you have similar questions as to what was real and what was a scheme? Do you wish the movie didn't have any answers and wanted it to be more ambiguous? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe for weekly video essays and reviews, and enjoy a delicious sandwich.